You know, just the other night I was on Pluto TV watching an Elvis movie. Don't judge me, it was King Creole. It was his best movie, so I enjoyed myself. But with Pluto TV being free, there's ads that are on it. And there was one ad that kept constantly popping up during my time watching of this, like, health insurance commercial. And there was this woman talking, but you could tell that there was something off about this woman. Well, that's because the woman was not real. It was AI. I could tell right away just by the way she looked cartoony, and the way her mouth was moving and the way she was speaking was just very robotic. And it made me go, why don't you just hire actors? Or why don't you just, you know, say the stuff yourself on the commercial? That seems to be easier and the less lazy way to do things. But sadly, that's how us as a society are starting to do things. You guys know my opinion on AI. I do not like it. It brings dead people back to life to say and do things that they, you know, probably wouldn't be okay with doing. And it also gives an opportunity to make up stories and pass them off as being real, because there's nothing wrong with wanting to tell a story and making some sort of, you know, skit about it or short, or that's basically what movies are. Someone's idea brought to life, but we know that they're not real. They're movies, so there's, you know, no problem with it other than, is the movie bad? Is it good? That's all we care about. But there's YouTube channels, especially shorts channels, that are guilty of this. And one of the ones I wanted to talk about today, mainly the reason I'm talking about this one is because I was scrolling through YouTube shorts at night before bed, as I usually do, and there was this YouTube channel named Court Dockets that kept popping up. And the thing with them is they seem fairly new because they don't have a ton of shorts out. That's really all they have is shorts. They don't have any, like, long form videos. And basically, I'm just going to play you a clip from one of these videos, and you tell me what's wrong here.
You terminated her for saving a man's life?
A pharmacist was fired for theft after using an EpiPen from store inventory to save a customer who collapsed from a severe allergic reaction.
Emergency intent does not override procedure. This qualifies as asset misappropriation.
She is reinstated with full back pay.
Beep boo boo bop boo boo beep.
So this comes from the video Pharmacist Fired for Saving Man's Life. And you would think going into this that this is supposed to be some sort of real story, but when you look it up, there's really nothing in the news about it, or at least nothing that represents what this story is. And then when you look at it a little bit more, you start to see the cracks. Remember that cartoony feel I told you about when I was watching that commercial and I saw that woman and I was like, there's just something off about it, it's a bit too cartoony for me? Well, you're starting to get that here with these videos, and that's when I realized, oh, this is AI. These are fake stories. The narrator is not a real person, and they are doing this particularly because they want to get views. I mean, look at this. They have 1.6 million views on this teen sued $800 for feeding hungry senior. 1.1 million views for city finds grieving father $7,500 after son's funeral. So they're getting some decent views on these videos. One I wanted to take a look at, though, was actually an electrician arrested for fixing an elderly neighbor's power during a heat wave.
Do not ever bring me a case like this again.
An electrician was arrested after fixing his elderly neighbor's power during a deadly heat wave without a city permit. What the judge said next shocked the courtroom.
Your Honor, she's 87 years old. Her breaker failed and her air conditioner shut off. It was 95 degrees inside her house. I fixed it in 10 minutes for free. Was I supposed to let her collapse while I filled out paperwork?
All electrical work requires a city permit. He acted without authorization. Procedures exist for public safety. He should have waited for proper authority.
Let me make this perfectly clear. This man prevented an elderly woman from suffering heat stroke. That is not a crime. That is basic human decency. These charges are dismissed. And counselor, do not ever bring me a case like this again.
Beep boo boo bop boo boo beep.
The only way as an electrician you're gonna get arrested for doing something like that is if you're not doing it by code or you're doing it illegally somehow. And although that can be the case here, again, this isn't a real story. Working in electrical, having done work for many elderly people, it's just your job. That's what you're supposed to do. And we've done, generators during heat waves for, people to keep airflow going when the power goes out, and even vice versa in the winter. When power goes out, people need generators so they can have heat running through and all this other stuff working. There's really nothing against it. As long as you follow code, you're okay. Here in Pennsylvania, it's a little weird because you don't have to have a license to be an electrician, whereas in some place like Maryland you do, but yet, my dad is licensed in Pennsylvania and Maryland to do the electrical work, so he does everything up to code, because if he does something slightly wrong off code, he can get his license taken away. And I just, looking at these, I hate that they exist, because they're supposed to be quote-unquote feel-good stories about, oh, this person did a good thing and they got arrested for it, and the judge is like, I'm not going to get you in trouble because what you did was actually really, really nice, so whoever arrested you, fuck them, fuck the system, you're free to go. And it's just kind of like, yeah, but that's not real, and plus, I don't really know if that's how judges would act in the court of law. Like, yeah, there are times where you see judges take the plaintiff's side or the defendant's side, and they're like, well, you were wrongfully arrested for this reason. But just some of these judges in these videos and the way they act, it's just so ungenuine that you can tell an AI computer program wrote this.
Beep.
I guess basically what I'm trying to say there is it leads to a lot of misconstrued things between reality and what's fake and all this kind of stuff. Like, people are gonna see a feel-good story and be like, look at this judge, not realizing that it's fake in itself, even though the story may seem real. Because there's this other YouTube channel called Fun for Days 98 where they kind of do these real stories about things that happen between neighbors and Karens, or kids running home to their parents because their bully's chasing them, or their bully's parent is chasing them. And at first you go, oh, okay, cool, go mom, go dad, or whatever's going on, or you go person going up against that Karen, you show him who's boss. But then you see the stuff happening, like this guy cutting the Karen's fence on his property with a chainsaw, and you go, okay, I don't know, this could be real, but this just looks so faint and messed up, and it makes me question every video I start to see like this, because there's stuff that can be real, but when you see something like this, which is fake, by the way, because again, if you look up a story like this, you're not going to really find this particular story, then you just kind of go, okay, what's real, what's not, I don't know anymore, and it kind of just takes the fun out of stories like this.
Beep.
And again, it's just sad, because I don't think it would be so bad if they would just be like, this is not a true story, this is a AI story made up for entertainment. I feel like that would even be okay in itself, because at least you're letting us know ahead of time, like, this is not real, this is just made for entertainment purposes, when in this case, you're lying to people, you're feeding them that these are real stories and not AI, when, I mean, it's clear that they are. I mean, I don't know who it's fooling. Actually, it's fooling a good bit of people if you got especially 2 shorts with 1 million views, but you're not gonna fool me. And there is a couple of comments on the electrician video that have called out these stories here. This guy here says, BS, a repair or replacement wouldn't require a permit, which is true. And then this person said, how did the city know about this when it's not something that you usually just go to the city about? So, see, there are some people, but then there's people here that say, thank you, Judge, for seeing through all the nonsense. I love that judge. She said, do not bring me a case like this again. I hope she punish anyone stupid enough to do so. It's just, there's people that fall for this, and it's kind of sad when you can clearly see how fake. So in the end, AI is going to be a part of the future, whether we like it or not, and I think it's best to know how to point out what's AI and what's not. That way you know what you're watching is, real in some case, at least with something like this. And for the people who use AI to tell these stories and pass them off as real, just tell us you're making a story. Like, it's okay to be entertaining by making a story and turning it into something. That's fine. Again, that's what films are. Make short films if you really want to do that. Don't sit here and say that this is real and that this really happened when we can clearly tell that this is AI. Or if you are trying to tell some sort of true story in this sense, don't use AI to do it. It feels so unnatural, and it doesn't make me want to watch your video. It just makes me want to click off of it instantly and go somewhere else to someone who might actually be talking about an incident like this more thoroughly and actually doing research for it in the first place. So in the end, show off your true talent. Don't let AI do that for you. And if you can, God forbid, please hire anybody you can, actors, writers, editors, to do the work that maybe you can't do. And like I said, only if you can afford it though. And if you can't, well, just do what I do. Take some time, teach yourself, and it may not be perfect, but in the end, you'll find a way to make it work, and you can make the videos that you want to make without being criticized about how fake they actually are. But until then, I would really like to hear in the comments below, what do you think? Stay safe out there, and I will catch you all in the next one.
Beep.